Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuhu. A pleasant day to everyone, most especially to our professor, Professor Claire A. Macabalang. I am Najmo Sahar Pikandao and I am going to tackle about the cone of experience and its roles in learning by Dale's cone. So Dale's cones of experience can be used as a valuable model for creating rich learning experiences. But there are a lot of misconceptions about it. So I am here to help you to understand this theory and how to properly apply it into the learning and development. So what is the cone of experience? The cone of experience is a learning model introduced by Edgar Dale that illustrates the concreteness levels of learning experiences based on the medium. It takes the shape of an inverted cone, which shows the abstract learning experience at the peak and progresses into the most concrete experiences down to the base. So despite its shape, it's not meant to be a basis of what mediums are at least or most effective. Its levels are not arranged in hierarchy. So Dale emphasizes that the cone is merely visual, a visual analogy of the progression of abstract learning experiences to concrete ones. Similarly, it represents that the more concrete the learning experiences are, the more senses are involved: seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, and feeling. So in this article, we will explore the concrete learner's definition and other important key elements of the cone of experience. So here is the illustration of the cone of experience. Originally, it has 11 levels, but more modern interpretations of the model only include 10 levels. So the top levels include learning mediums that give learners abstract learning experiences. So in the middle levels can be also abstract or concrete, depending on whether there's an opportunity for the learner to directly participate in the experience or not. So the base then shows that the learning mediums where learners can have concrete learning experiences. So now let's have each levels. So in the first level or in the top level, which is on the peak, the verbal symbols. Verbal symbols refer to text or words, like terminologies, rules, formulas, and other similar concepts. It is located at the peak of the cone, which means that this is the most abstract learning experience as they don't give any visual representation of a subject. Second is the visual symbols. These are graphic representations of concepts, which include charts, diagrams, infographics, graphs, flowcharts, and the like. So they are used to help make concepts easier for our brains to understand and interpret concepts. So in practice, you can use these arrows to visually show the flow of a step-by-step process, or you can use charts to interpret numerical data. Third is the recordings, radio, and still pictures. So in this level simply refers to photographs and audio recordings like podcasts. While this level is less abstract, learners are still merely observers. In this level, debunks the misconception that auditory media is better than visual media, since photos and audios are put together at the same level. In this training, you can use the audio recordings to teach your staff how to pronounce certain words so they can properly greet different foreign customers. In fourth, the motion pictures. And the fifth is the educational television. So these both represent publications combine motion pictures and educational television on the same level as they are similar mediums. But in the original model, they were counted as separate levels. So these levels are all about learning videos and animations where both visuals and auditory senses are being used. So while these mediums don't create realistic experiences, they provide interesting customization options to create deliberate learning experience. Sixth is the exhibit, or in the middle is the exhibit, are meaningful displays with limited handling. This means that sometimes exhibits can be restricted to observations only. Meanwhile, other kinds of exhibits are designed to be interactive, which encourages direct participation and the use of a range of senses from learners. So this makes it the first level in the cone of experience that moves away from abstractness, unlike the previous levels. So galleries and museums are examples of exhibits, giving learners the opportunity to closely expose themselves to educational materials, inventions, and many more. Next, or in the seventh, is the study trips or field trips. So these are where the learners have the opportunity to observe the different objects, situations, activities, and other related information in the real-world setting. It's level that gives the learners a feast of real sight and sounds. Much like exhibits, in sometimes instances, learners have this opportunity to briefly participate in a real-life experience of a job or activity. For example, on a trip to a fire station, your learners will participate in trying out how to put out a fire using a fire extinguisher. Next is the demonstrations, or in number 8. Demonstrations are visual explanation of how something works. It also works as a visual guide on how to do something. But typically, this medium of instruction is used when there are logistic limitations for a hands-on learning activity for everyone. Next is dramatized experiences. These are recreated situations where learners can directly participate, such as role plays that are based on real-life happenings. Through this activity, learners can immerse themselves in a situation even if it's not real thing yet. This also gives them the opportunity to safely fail in a recreated experiences. 10th is the contrived experiences. These are edited or imitated versions of reality, like mock-ups, simulations, gamifications, and models. So some concepts are too complex, but this kind of learning experience make it easier to visualize and understand the subject. In some cases, it also makes teachings a lot more flexible as these representative models can be easily manipulated or operated for educational purposes. And the last one is the direct purposeful experiences. So this is simply a refer to a hands-on learning or practice of a real thing. So it is located at the base of the cone of experience, which means that it gives the most concrete, tangible learning experiences. So that's to say that at this level, learners are actively participating in an activity, allowing them to make use of all their senses in all the learning processes. So what is the purpose of the cone of experience? So the main purpose of these experiences is to help you identify and select the right audiovisual mediums and resources for your training initiatives. So it's not meant to be a roadmap for a lesson or convey a list most effective learning experiences. But there is no in the corrupted model of the cone of experience, there are percentages of a learning retention for each level. So, but this is no data that supports this because Dale's original illustration of the cone didn't have any of those numbers. Rather, the progression from the base or concrete learning experiences to the top or the abstract learning experiences is intended to show the gradual decrease of sensory information. So applying the cone of experience in instructional design. In the instructional design, cone of experience can help you to create rich learning experiences by using different training methods and making interactive training lessons. You can also use it as a guide when considering that learning resources to develop. This way, you can better balance or combine abstract and concrete learning experiences. So while all this may seem like an overwhelming responsibility, applying them applying them can be convenient with the help of a learning experience design tools. So here you can use different learning strategies all on one platform. And that was the last slide on my report about the cone of experience and its role in learning. That would be all. Thank you so much for listening.